Third time I've moved.
You know, you'll be all right. If you get all the bills.
It's a crowded house. Okay, we'll call the August 2nd, 2021 Management Services Committee meeting to order. Have a roll.
Alt.
Here.
Bowman.
Here.
Bowers.
Yes.
Ducat.
Yes.
Sumo.
Present.
Barron.
Here. Is there a motion to approve the agenda? Mr. Bowers, Mr. Gold. Are there any public comments?
Just wanted to make a quick statement this morning. Today, this committee is to decide what we're going to do with the county farm. And I just wanted to say that we need to find the very best farmer that's for preserve this land for future generations. This land is a very precious commodity, and if we go in any direction, we see what happens to the soil types and its productivity. And this land belongs to our children's children, and we're just here to be managers as it passes through us. I know money is important, but it's not the most important in picking a tenant when deciding who's going to farm it. Preserving waterways, providing yield data, and working the ground when conditions are right, not letting the crop in or cutting it out or cutting the ground up at harvest. These compaction problems can take years to correct, and the soil structure. So those are just a few items I wanted to mention. Thank you.
Anybody else have any public comments? Seeing none, maintenance supervisor report.
Have a whole lot here, I'll be quick. There's a lot going on today.
Oh, they want to know what's going on here, so.
Oh, I can take a half an hour then if you want. I spoke with someone from the IPC this morning, and it's in regard to the north parking lot. And there's a pre-construction meeting between Joel Moore and IPC on August 12th that they have scheduled. And so what I'm told is Watsika now is going to redo that road, 10th Street, right in front of Courthouse, from the curve to a few blocks south there. And they're going to do that as one large project, which makes sense. So we're probably looking at towards the end of August and the beginning of September as far as that lot getting done. The jail door retrofit project that I've been talking about for a length now is officially completed. That's all done, all the COs are happy, everything's working great. There's some other projects that I'm having done over there. There's some new carpet going in one of the deliberating rooms. Backflows are getting inspected this month over at the jail over here. Those concrete will be doing the joints between the marble stairs on the east and west side of the courthouse. That's getting done here in the next month. Over here, I had some parts shipped for the cooling tower out here, some new drift eliminators and a sump screen. There's a small issue going on with either my water level sensor or the solenoid that adds water. I've got water trickling into it right now. Last Thursday, I shut it down for a bit, and it quickly got that glycol loop up over 100, so I couldn't do a whole lot with it that day. But it's working fine right now. I just need to iron out a few issues with it. Had some contract work, renter's contract at USDA over the weekend. I had a gentleman come in and strip and redo their floors. That's supposed to be done every year, but kind of agreed to an every other year deal. And now I have to have the carpets done as well. That'll get done as well. And lastly, I did a small project. Michelle Meadows down here took over Leo's old office. There was no heating or cooling in there at all. And I'd never known that, and she brought it to my attention. And so I just got some 8-inch flex duct and tapped into a trunk line that serves another office, and then that portion of the hallway, I put a vent just like that in her office. And so now she has air conditioning and heating in her office. We're up to snuff there. I think so. That's pretty much everything worth mentioning. Number 10. Does anyone have any questions for me? I'm glad to make up something.
I don't see any questions, so. I guess you're off the hook for now.
10-4.
All right. County farm management issues. Guess we're down to open bids and take action on county farm lease.
Before we get that far, Lyle, if we're talking about that, I have some questions.
Okay.
According to our lease agreement, we were supposed to get the yields within 30 days of harvest. Has this committee seen the yields for the last 4 years, 30 days after harvest?
I don't think I have ever
Is there
seen.
anybody from Walker Farms there? Have you sent those yields 30 days after harvest, field by field?
Not field by field. I have yield records for the farm, historical yields that I turn in both to my crop insurance, but also personal records, and I have field maps that I did not turn that in.
My opinion, of course, it's personal opinion, but if we're putting this out for bids, everybody needs to know what the farm makes.
It would be.
Because the yields go up, the yields go down, it's all gonna affect the bidding. Couple other things. Somebody asked what the average fertilizer cost would be on it. I don't think we've provided that for the last few years. And how do we know when we bid the fertilizer what we're bidding for if they take off more than what we're putting in there?
Well, it gets tested with.
I understand that, but if you take off 200 bushel or 250, it makes a big difference on maintenance. The other thing, I think we did a bad job of advertising. Because I can tell you, look around the room, and I think every one of these people I have called or had somebody call to come in and bid. I think it's just absolutely an embarrassment to this community. That either we need to put it on the radio, we need to put it somewhere. So, I don't know, I guess my feeling is that, I'd like to make a motion that we would reject Walker's bids for lack of turning in, the yield so it would make a fair playing ground for everybody to bid on.
Second.
In the past, I guess no one to my knowledge has ever done that, has ever turned them in. So if you're going to deny theirs, are you also going to deny others who didn't do that?
When was it put in the lease?
That I couldn't tell you.
I would say we almost have to.
Well, you're gonna knock at least 2 of them out of here.
And then we knock 2 of them out. Because it's not fair to the rest of the people bidding on it. If they don't have a clue, it might be the best corn crop in everybody county. We have no idea what the yields are on it, as far as I'm concerned.
Anybody else got any thoughts?
Well, it depends on when that clause for yield data request was put in the lease, as far as who gets locked out and doesn't get.
I don't know that right offhand. Do we want to spend an hour looking that up, or what do we want to do?
I believe it was the last lease it was put in, wasn't it?
I don't know. Brienne would know, she has a copy of all the leases.
She was going to come in today, but I don't see her in here.
The Walker had
I don't know. I mean,
Who had it before that?
for the,
Zach, was it in your lease?
Yes,
It was
and
in
I
your.
turned it in.
okay, well,
I messaged Lyle and I messaged, someone else, but I mean, that was, what, 4 years ago, because we didn't have this meeting last year, 5 years ago?
Right.
But I emailed Lyle for sure, and,
you may have, I don't remember.
I don't know if I can prove that, but, I mean, it didn't hardly do probably as good as it's been doing, but I just remember one time,
What was the yield? Do you remember the average
like 155 or 160.
on corn?
Yeah,
Or the beans was all corn?
I planted on one.
Well, that helps a little.
Yeah.
Well, I guess my thought on this would be, for the last 6 months, I've been asking people to give me any changes or anything like that, anything that they wanted. And last month, we did have some things that came up, and a letter was sent to Walker Farms, and you should have a copy of that.
Why do we have to send a letter to them to tell them to do their things that they're supposed to do? My question.
Courtesy.
A lease is a lease. I'm sure farm managers don't tell you, send you a lease, because they're out for the landowner.
That may be true, but I'm sure farm managers are, in contact with the tenant. As you said, we didn't do a good job of advertising, we probably don't do a good job of keeping in contact with the TCs.
Hey, John, since you brought up last meeting, did you get what you had asked for?
Yeah, the letter.
So they provided you with everything that we needed from what you asked for? That's all I'm making sure.
It'll be on the next to last page, section 7, wherever they sign.
I don't wanna miss something.
This is the new one, it's almost the same. That should be looking at.
Our discretion. So it looks like it was in the last two leases, but it does say it's at our discretion what we want to do. So, we have a motion and a second on the floor. So, let's do a roll call vote. Those wanting to not accept Walker's bid, Orchard's bid. I mean, you may have sent it to me, I don't remember, and Amanda doesn't, you know, I guess. Do
We got nothing on paper for you.
Who do
It may have been
me and
sent.
Stephanie here,
Yeah.
who are we supposed to send it to?
Well, it should go to the office. and if
Well,
you
is
send
there,
it
is it wrote in the contract that says that we need to send it to blah, 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 address at whatever village of Nowhereville? Or what?
It is not.
I mean, it doesn't, it says 30 days after, and I did mine within 30 days. But I sent it to Lyle, I think either text or email.
It may have been.
And,
both.
I mean, but it doesn't directly say, Stephanie,
Where to?
does it say?
It doesn't say.
It doesn't-
So, I mean, she clearly could have sent it to somebody.
Yeah, that's possible. So,
I mean, if you're gonna throw Stephanie out, I suppose, I don't see why I should get thrown out in this deal, because I have sent it.
well, the motion was Walker Farm.
Oh,
My vote yes or my vote,
You're voting to not accept the bid from Walker Farm.
and I vote no.
Bowman,
Yes.
Bowers,
No.
Ducat,
No.
Sumo,
Yes.
Barons,
No. Okay. So.
So the lease is worthless. That's what you're saying, if they don't have to report it. If they don't have to report it in 30 days, it needs to come out of there, because everybody here just voted.
You're only
that-
looking at one part of the lease. The
That's
lease
right,
says
that's
it's at-
one part, but every part is a part of the lease.
Right, and part of that lease is it's at our discretion.
Good luck getting bidders. That's all I'm gonna say.
Okay, so we will be accepting all bids at this time that were sent in. So. Are you ready? David and Kira Ebert. $150 an acre. Orchard Family Farms, 117.40 per acre. Taggart Brothers, 205 per acre. Nathan McTaggart and Corey McTaggart, 150 per acre. Keith and Tamara McTaggart, 248 per acre. Trevor and Wayne, or Wyatt Raleigh, 280 per acre.
Frozen, right? Frozen.
So, yeah. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Walker Place, 345 per acre. So at this point, we will allow people to raise their bid. My bid right now is 345, is that correct? Is there anybody that wants to raise the bid? Are there any other bids? Are there any other bids? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to close bids? Mr. Ducal, is there a second?
Well,
Yeah, we vote.
Bid's 340 back here.
What was
So we
our,
got 345 right
Yeah,
now.
but we, like the gentleman said earlier, we necessarily don't take the high bid.
Right.
Correct?
Right, if something happens, the way the lease is written, I believe, if they default, it goes to the second. high
Well,
bidder.
I mean, there's other things to consider. Number one, I think it's important that the farmer that farms Iroquois County farm should be from Iroquois County. I think that's a big deal. Number two, I think there's other things to consider as far as young farmers. People getting into the business, trying to farm. I mean, that's the county farm. We need farmers in this county, and we need young farmers coming up. Now, Walker Farms is farming, I've heard rumors that you guys are farming, what, 30,000, 40,000 acres? They don't need this farm. They need this farm like a hole in the head, and the county needs to take their money like a hole in the head. They need to keep this farm in Iroquois County to an Iroquois County farmer, and preferably a young farmer.
Borchers Family Farms will match Walker's bid.
That, you know, it's important that this farm be kept to an Iroquois County farmer, preferably a young farmer. And Walker Farm is neither.
I would disagree with that. I'll just like to make a statement that, we own land, we do business in Iroquois County, we pay taxes in Iroquois County.
But
and
you're not
Walker
located
Place-
in Iroquois County. You operate out of Vermillion County.
We do business.
You operate in how many counties? You operate in just about every county in the state, don't you?
I think that's an unfair statement.
I don't.
all right, let's keep it to bids. We don't wanna,
Well, I'm just saying, it's important to me. I'm not even bidding, my kids are bidding, I'm not even bidding, but to me, as a taxpayer and a farmer in this county for 45 years, I think the board has to recognize that the county farm should be operated out of this county. And it just upsets me that somebody from 40 miles away is coming up and doing it as an afterthought. Like you said, like the gentleman said, do they come in and they do it timely? Are they good stewards of the land? These are all things the county board should be thinking about, instead of just saying, what's the top bid? Oh, there's no more top bids, we'll take that bid. That's not the way it should be done. So that's all I got to say.
okay. So, Orchard Farms said they would match the 345. You're in at 340.
340.
So, and just so everybody knows, what's decided here has to go to the full board, and it can change there,
I understand that.
so. Yes, Mr. Ellis.
I think it's been challenged sometime in the past, maybe not before the bidders, but before the board, that we cannot just rule out outside residents from bidding on this. It's an open bid by law.
It is an open bid.
Now, conservation and stuff like that probably has to be proven.
Well, the board has a lot of discretion as to who, we never, as he said, we don't have to take the high bid.
Yeah.
It is up to us to find the balance. You have- All right. Is there anybody else that wants to put in a bid before we close the bid?
I'll raise Walker Place's bid to 380.
How much is the new bid?
380. Anybody else? I see whispering, but. Seeing no further bids, is there a motion to close the bids? Mr. Duval, is there a second? Mr. Bowers? All in favor? All opposed? Seeing none opposed, passed. Okay. Now, I need a motion to accept a bid.
Motion to accept Walker Farms 3 and Gregor.
Move to take it to the county board, for voting there.
Okay, I have two motions on the floor. Is anybody willing to second either one of them? Seeing no seconds, both motions die. Now, would somebody else like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept Zach Morcher's bid, $345.
Is there a second?
Second.
Alt,
No.
Coleman,
Yes.
Bowers,
No.
Ducat,
No.
Sumall,
Yes.
Aaron,
Doesn't matter what way I vote, it fails.
We need to know where you stand.
I'll vote no, knowing that it's not gonna pass anyway. Because you gotta have a majority to pass.
I would like to make another motion to accept Walker $380.
Now I have a motion and a second to accept Walker bid.
Alt,
Yes.
Coleman,
No.
Bowers,
Yes.
Ducat,
Yes.
Sumall,
No.
Aaron,
Yes. Okay, we'll go to the full board now. We can. Anyone interested in wanting to make public comments, I encourage you to come to the full board next Tuesday. It is not unusual for this committee to be overturned, I will just say that. If you think it will make a difference, I encourage you to come to the full board. All right. If you want to stay, you can stay. If you want to leave, that's fine.
Congratulations, Stephanie. Tell Jerry I said hi.
No comment.
Well, I mean, I just told them what I thought.
Yeah. No. I hear it all the time.
Stephanie,
Oh, I'm sorry.
we have paperwork, remember?
You said,
Please. Well, I guess, no, actually, that'll be after the full board meeting. I'm sorry.
okay.
Okay. Has everybody had a chance to look at the plan? There are some up here, if you want to see them, for sheriff, electricity, AT&T, that are pre-approved ones, but if you want to see what they are, they are also.
Those, places that did not make it on the report, they're all pre-approved, but they did not make it on the report.
they have to bring them late.
Anybody else want to see them?
Yeah.
Don't get them.
My printer isn't working on that, but I don't get the other ones, I tried it on this one.
Well, do you want to see them
Do
all?
you want a printed copy?
No, that's all right, I just watched it.
questions? Anybody else have questions on anything else? Oh, is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? Mr. Duval?
Alt,
Yes.
Coleman,
Yes.
Bowers.
Yes.
Ducat.
Yes.
Zumwalt,
Yes.
Aaron's.
Yes. Old business, is there any old business? Yes.
The ETSB, it's not on this month's agenda. I've asked Amanda to put it on to next month's agenda for the security gate barrier in the server room. We did get a quote for a brick and mortar structure to go in there. It's gonna be about $5,100. I anticipate the ETSB is gonna select the security gate. But for next month, I would like to have that on the agenda. I've already sent email to Amanda to make sure it's on the agenda. There's no action requested at this time.
Okay. Any other old business? New business?
Would it be considered a new business that we put in the lease, must report yields by field of 30 days of harvest 2, so we can.
Yes.
Filing it in my office would be the best place to do it, because we file all records for the county board, so if you're going to do it, I would say in the county clerk's office.
So all correspondence, you want to go to you then?
I mean, as far as like the
The-
crop yields and things like that,
Well,
I think that's the most logical place to have them
Okay,
filed.
they're also supposed to report what they put on as far as seed fertilizer, well, fertilizer we know, because we.
Cause you guys do it. Yeah, and I mean,
Chemicals and whatever.
because ultimately, like all the bids, everything comes back to the county clerk's office.
Do you have a copy of what we were given today?
Excuse me,
Do you have a copy of what we were given today?
copy of what you were given.
Not yet, probably.
Okay.
The
I
email,
apologize.
Oh,
email from Walker Place.
no, I do not have an email from Walker Place. But like, I would say that's the most logical place to have everything filed, because we can file stamp it and have the date that we get it, and, then it's placed on file in my office. So that's probably the most logical place. Plus, the bids are picked up there. We had several farmers ask what the yields were. We do have the soil samples and things like that, but, it's the most logical place to have it filed.
Okay. Oh, I have a question, but I can't think.
I don't know if you can change the lease after we've sent it out.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Right, yeah, I have no idea.
It was
I think we could put something on there where it needs to be forwarded to, but I mean, as far as changing,
Yeah.
I don't think you can change because everybody signed or looked at the lease.
Unless the person would be agreeable to it.
Well,
but
I mean, since it does say they're supposed to report it, just giving them the place to report it, I think would be considered a part of, you know, what would be required, so.
It certainly was discussed here today. Well, can't we go over to USDA and get that information?
Absolutely not unless they release it. Yeah, Walker has to release it and then he files it here. If you try to buy a piece of ground and you go ask for the yields, they cannot release that at USDA without the farmer's or tenant approval. They'll end up in court big time.
Well,
My tenants,
I think we can
Come on.
put a
Do
note
it,
in there that they.
yeah, my tenants.
Yeah,
Right.
that
And
they
then
send
released
it
to me and my insurance
Right.
company.
Clerk's office.
yes, that's not a major change.
No.
Well, I'm 50/50 too.
Right.
I don't know that we even need a motion for that, it's just something that we do in fulfilling our part of the contract.
Should we put it on next month's agenda?
But, no, I think putting the address where it needs to go would just be a part of our fulfilling the contract, since we require them to send it.
But I also think, like John did the last meeting, he brought up, issues we were having, do we want to put on there, if we give them a 30-day extension to give us everything we want for information? Is everything John asked for, we got?
Yeah, I mean, well, to the best of my knowledge, I tried to write it all down.
But I'm sure if you read the lease, they didn't tell us what they were using for chemicals either. They did on the sheet, but on the contract, it says that they're supposed to provide us with what they're gonna use, so we okay it. But that's never been done either.
Something else we put on there, yes.
The lease I was looking at.
He had an old lease.
So, yeah, my part doesn't have to be the lease that I had. The new one does, so I guess I wasn't asking all the right questions. So we still don't know, hopefully they'll still provide us with deals from last year.
Why would they?
They don't have to, I guess.
They've got the bid. They don't have to give it to us.
They don't have to, but we can request it.
Something you want to have happen, John? You want to ask the?
Yes. Because we gotta know what level, particularly, you know,
Right, that will help with that.
We're here right now, just discuss things, you guys need to bring this stuff up, not wait. From my point of view, you shouldn't wait till the last minute when the police go. And that's why, how I voted was because whatever you asked for, everything's here. That's why,
But if you sign the lease, you should know your,
agreement, but
you should know what you should follow. So it hasn't been followed for 4 years. Surely you look at a lease and you would say, okay, if I need to do something, if you write a lease for somebody and they don't do it, what are you gonna
my
do?
choice if I want to get rid of them or not.
Yeah. But, I think there's what, $14,000 difference per year to ship it out of town. I don't agree with it, but that's my personal opinion.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, I was just gonna say per acre.
Per acre, per year.
Per year. Yeah.
Well, and I don't disagree with you.
Well, ask Walker's to farm it for you then. They'll probably give you that.
John, if anything else you can think of, just bring it up so we know about it. If Kevin's saying to you, bring it up now so we know about it. So in the future, we put something on this contract that we can follow with.
I don't know, it just, it looks really bad. You know, for, you know, everybody's roads are low, and it says in the lease that it's supposed to mow them 3 times. It didn't mow them last year, until like, late summer, they mowed it once per year, you know?
And mudded it.
Yeah, and it just looks really bad. It looks really bad that we've got photos of the internet of a pretty big 4-wheel drive tractor stuck, you know, in the mud. And the county ends up being kind of a laughing stock of, you know, hey, but that's what you get when you get Walker, you know? And it just gripes me that we can't see the big picture long term. As farmers, we know how it needs to be done, and we see it not being done correctly. And I don't know, maybe guys who are here or in the board may not see that. Well, pretty much, whatever happens on the county farm has been the laughing stock of this county. And, you know, because they're the poster child of doing everything wrong. You know, if you want to watch how things get screwed up, watch Walker, please. And I feel that strongly. And having lived over here by the hospital, I've watched them, you know, for 4 years, and before even Zach Orchard got on, they just go by and you shake your head, you know. And it's just a disaster. And partly one of the reasons why I got on this board was to do a better job managing the county farm, because it ain't been happening. So that's my feeling.
Well, and I don't know whether the board knows that the sheriff's been called out there several times on Walker. Because they just go across anybody's land they want to. They don't care.
Well, and, no, I'm not aware of that.
Yeah. One of them was here today, and then they met combine in the middle of the field. And they called the law, and the law's been out there 2 or 3 times, because they just do what they want. So it really makes everything look bad as far as I'm concerned, but, I guess we're out after the almighty dollar.
Another little thing that just gripes you is that, Rick Light was the manager at AHW in Watsika. Not a single bolt or nut was ever purchased for a machine for Walker Place. By any other equipment. You go by and there's 6 inches of mud on the road because they couldn't, when you farm that many acres, you gotta go for the calendar, not for the winter. It just kind of frustrating.
I guess I was unaware of the going across other people's property and the pictures of the stuff four-wheel back and that. And that's stuff that should be brought up every month. We got county farm management issues. It's on the agenda. I mean, it's just standard on there. So every month, you guys should be bringing this stuff up.
But basically, the layout's gonna come down to the dollar.
Not necessarily.
I wouldn't say that.
I was waiting any votes here today.
You have given me some information I didn't know. I'll think about it. It's possible that I may change.
That's another thing with putting a lease. If we could put on there, they can't move, it has rained within the last 3 days.
Well, his issue is if they aren't going enough.
Right. And then we put that on there.
Well, but,
The tile hole?
I go that direction. I don't go that direction, so.
The tile hole, I believe we had to send them, or you called them and told them to fix the tile hole.
Yeah, they.
We shouldn't have to go out and tell them to fix tiles. That's why we're looking at a new main putting in there, because it's been farmed over and over and over. And once the tile hole gets plugged, and they plug another one 20 feet down, that's why the water's running on top of the ground out there, erosion, the topsoil off.
Yeah, as you're bringing
I
that
could
up.
get some guys to come in, if you wanted to listen to public comments and let them bitch, I'm sure Dave Johnson will be the first one to come up and do a public, because they lost acres because of us.
Well, that's
What,
all
were they
stuff.
cattle vendors?
Who?
Johnson,
I don't know how they rent that farm.
they lost it because of us though.
No, they did not lose it, they lost farm ground farmable because of our
Erosion.
erosion.
Their crops were eroded.
Because of us, we eroded onto them.
Right, because our tile drains through them to get to the
It's
ditch.
already in the drain trial.
No, because the tile was.
Because of the waterway has been,
It's surface water.
yeah,
It's cut
The
off.
Waterway has always been a discussion in here, we're always doing something with it or waiting till do it when it's fit.
well, the problem with, I think that we discovered, the tile is under the water.
Well, we didn't put the tile there.
I understand that, but if they don't fix it, when the tile's plugged, in Australia, you've got a farm, if the tile's plugged, where's the water go? Well, it comes to the top and flows somewhere, correct? Or it doesn't flow at all, so now you got a pond. I don't know, I think when we met with Dave Johnson, it was what, 3 acres, he said?
Yeah, it was a corner of a field.
You met with.
So if you want public comments, we can get public comments, if that's what you wanna do.
I didn't
Put
know.
this in the last 4 years.
I,
Yeah.
Yes.
just because of how John will probably run the meeting, and I'm just guessing, he's gonna limit it to a couple of people and not have, so make sure if you want to get people to do public comments, make sure you have the ones that have the most relevant comments, ones that have actually had losses, things like that.
And he came in the number of
And,
meetings here.
and this is all stuff that is, if we as the committee didn't know about it, then the rest of the board has no clue.
Well, just about the way we advertised. Them guys that were here didn't know nothing about it until they got home. I'll guarantee Froley wouldn't have been here. I didn't know it. I just happened to stumble across, stopped in and said, you know, they're picking bids up for the county farm and it's due Monday. Well, I started calling people. I had no idea that it was even coming up. So
Yeah.
that's why we only might have had Walker in one other bid.
Well, and Walker called me on this, and prior to her talking to me, she didn't know it was out there. So, yeah, I agree, we gotta figure out some different way to do it, but I don't know how to do it, other than us saying these people might be interested in contacting. I mean, when it comes to heat pump issues and stuff, I actually went to different ones in town here to ask them to bid, and they did. So, I mean, it is part of our duties to make sure the word gets out. But, you know, with the paper only being out once a week now, and
I don't know if we need to go to the radio or what we need to do, but we need to advertise it completely different from what we've been doing.
Everything on
it is on the website, but if you don't
No, I'm
know,
talking, like, is there, and especially the farmers, is there a website of everybody's land comes up released?
There's so many farmer websites, you couldn't cover them all.
I'm just bringing it up.
Everybody's got their own page.
Right.
Trying to think of ideas.
yeah, and, you know, because the next thing under new business that I was gonna mention is, it probably should have been on this month's agenda, but, next month we will be putting out for bid for soil testing, so that we can get the fertilizer bids.
We haven't adjourned yet, have
No, we are still in new
Kept it the
business.
same thing with the fertilizer, I call companies,
we? Can I
they
get
come bid
another
first,
subject before
send
we
them
go?
in, just to get us bid.
Yeah. Well, we are going to soil sample this fall,
Yes, with the new contract, we do new soil samples.
in the fall.
Yeah, so I will try to get the yields, have her send those to us, because that then will affect, when we put the fertilizer out for bid, what they're gonna recommend. So. Okay, anything else on this? Otherwise Charlie wants to move on to something else. I guess it's up to you, Charlie, now.
Is there any word about the playground equipment here, movement? Schools that started, I imagine preschools will soon start too.
2 weeks of school.
I-
2 weeks school starts. For this rest up there.
For this stuff we got sitting out here from the last daycare center, was, lease was up. And
Right.
not leased at all this last year, now the playground stuff, equipment. I think somebody talked to them once or something.
Yeah, before the last meeting, they said that they were working on getting it done, but we can follow up on that and see when it is, if they're expecting to get.
You said you can?
We can,
I think we should.
because they are moving, they've got a new place, so I would think they have a place to
Once
go
they
to.
start in school, they'll be busy, and
Right,
it should be gone.
yeah. Yes, and I talked to, Halls with the mowing about their, pallet gardens back there. He would like to have that cleaned up, so, he said he may get a hold of you to figure out what to do there.
Somebody sprayed it, because
Okay, you
it was
probably did.
full of weeds and it's just pure death now, so he must have sprayed it.
It's been neglected this summer.
Is that the
We don't expect
county's
it to be anything.
playground equipment, or did Head Start put that in?
I'm sure.
The garden?
We would not have
Playground
paid for it.
Playground.
We would not
Oh,
have
I'm
paid for
sure
the
they
playground.
They put it in, we didn't put it in.
Just talking to some people, randomly, they'll comment, I went to preschool there, there was playground equipment then. Now, I don't know if that was the same stuff, or
Probably.
it wasn't Head Start then. I don't know if it was some sort of other county-run.
Can we do this, we're talking with, we give them 30 days, they don't come get it?
Well, somebody else put it in, they took it over.
Right.
mean, it goes with school children, not with the county.
Right.
And what's
They used it
everybody's
because they
cost?
took over on it, because they can't say that we now own it because of.
Chief, all wants to know, do we just tell them 30 days or we'll dispose of it, or what do we want to do?
What do you think, Chris? That works for you?
I don't care, what are we gonna do with it?
Put it back
Scrap
in.
metal,
Some of that stuff is fixed in by cement.
Yeah,
You better check with
we'd have to get some big equipment to throw it out.
yeah, that's, I agree, John, that's.
I mean, that could cost you a couple bucks in your budget just to get it out, let alone try and rehome it.
Yeah.
You know, that stuff that's set in concrete and whatnot, there's not much around here, that would be something we'd have to have someone, whether it be highway department or somebody come out here with some sort of.
Do we charge them then to take it out, because their equipment's.
Yeah, I know, it's like,
I
we
just-
do.
Yeah,
Well, if they're saying that they may have inherited it, then maybe it's not their equipment.
so can we have this brought to the state's attorney to find out what we can do with this to move on it?
Somebody thought that Jim Devine ought to make a ruling on that too before we make a demand out of him. But I think it's gonna come to the fact that we are going to demand something else.
Yeah.
Is the fence coming down and everything? Are we
Well, what do
putting
you
it out
think?
there?
What do you think, Sheriff? What is the best scenario?
What does our county clerk want for that access point?
I can access what I need to, by opening the gate on the fence, so.
Is there any reason to keep the fence?
No.
I think it's a detriment if we keep the playground area. It's an attractive nuisance, we don't have nobody policing it. It's a detriment to its liability wise.
We can move it out to Iroquois County Park District.
And I keep saying that shed would look great in my backyard.
Boy, if I had the means, I'd pick one that thing up and set it, you're not, middle of the night.
Do they still, do we have a clue whether there's anything in that shed?
It's stuffed. It's packed with toys, little bikes, garden tools, all kinds of stuff. Now, this was, I'm sorry, let me back up, that was a couple of months ago. And unless they came in the past 2 months and cleared it out.
What kind of shape is the building in?
It's totally usable. It could be moved and
Okay,
Someone-
because sometimes those things,
if they're gonna use it, I don't know if they're
it's
intentional.
fine there, but if you move it, it's gonna fall apart.
It seems to be just fine to like where someone could come in with something.
Now, if good tools disappear, they'll be sued because they let it happen.
In your eyes, best case scenario?
What would you like to see happen, is what he's asking.
I don't care what happens.
You'll deal
I
with whatever.
need to even,
So you're okay anyway, guys?
get involved. Yeah, I don't.
Can we?
It has no effect on me whatsoever.
Jim, Janet, down there, watch?
No.
Yes, please.
I'd like to try some of the kitty toys.
There have been other issues that have gone to him that he doesn't remember getting, so.
You can bring it up to the board meeting then. I don't really want to bring it to the board meeting.
To be perfectly honest, it doesn't affect me whatsoever. I mean, with maintenance and whatever, it doesn't affect me at all down
Is
there.
there any concrete that's like they could put a building on, that much concrete? Is there a platform or anything?
It's just that black top.
Gotcha.
It's just the asphalt there, but as far as concrete, no. And I don't think underneath that shed there's any sort of footings or anything. I think it's just sat there. Because it's not very big.
You see that's under the playground too, that, those chips and all that should be picked up and put back into grass somewhere or other.
There's a lot of mulch there. Yeah,
They
it's
just
quite
put
a,
some new mulch down a year in the last,
I know.
Is there any place around the building that you could use the mulch?
Probably. Yeah, I mean, God, right outside here, I mean, it just grows weeds and I spray it twice a year, so.
Financially, what's gonna be, do they have to take care of to pick it up or do you have to pick it up?
it's better get a release for them before you move it on the rest of the building.
Yeah.
You have a loader on your back?
I do, it's just a 4-foot little deal. That thing just sits there, it needs used. Sometimes I gotta start it and drive it just 'cause I feel bad for it.
And there is a gate big enough that you could drive in there? pickup.
I think so. Yeah, it's a small tractor
Could you reuse the fence?
in my yard.
I'm with you on that, but I mean,
I don't know that the fence.
I didn't know if you had anything to make us wise back by the garage, or your garage, you want fenced around for your own equipment.
I'm worried though, he said, this is my stuff, so long enough he'll move his house over and call it his lot.
I see a tent in there.
The only bad thing that I could see, if we send them a letter or whatever we do, and tell them they need to move it, if not, then we need to have teeth in there that they pay
Right.
someone to remove it, because, I believe it's probably, prevailing wage since it sits on the county lot.
I agree with you.
Yeah, you're right.
So we're gonna open a big can of worms when you put prevailing wage in, maybe they'll come get it.
And maybe we should say we're not responsible if it's not found in good shape either.
I'm not by any means speaking for them because I quite frankly don't know, but if I had to guess, I would think they don't want it, or they would have done something already.
I believe you're right.
I don't think they want that stuff. Yeah, they inherited it, I think, and it's just,
Well, and that's where if they inherited it, then we can't hardly charge them to take it out.
But did we approve them putting it in?
Well, he's saying that,
The original people, did we
Yeah.
approve them of putting it in and telling them, yeah, you put Sacrete in and do this and that? Did we tell them that? I don't know.
yeah, we would have to go through minutes and just the experience from trying to go through minutes in the past, not all that stuff was put in. You know, their minutes cover the basics of the meeting, but it's not a verbatim. So it could have been approved, but not be in the minutes.
Do you believe, since you work with them every once in a while, correct? Okay, do you believe we could find a middle spot with them? Or that type of people, we can work with them to find something that's a middle spot to get rid of it? If we can't find all our paperwork, if Jim can't define exactly what we can do, what we can do with them, do you believe we can find a middle spot with them to get rid of it?
maybe, I have the number of one of the women who used to contact me for small issues down there, and I can reach out to her and just kind of feel her out a little bit and say, hey, you know, this is what's going on, so we talked about this in the meeting. Do you have a plan for this stuff?
Yeah, I don't want
it, you know, it's like,
Yeah.
We don't want to attack them, that's their county. They're trying to take care of children.
Yeah, yeah.
Just-
yeah, I know, I don't want to turn into the villain also.
Right, that's, so maybe.
But I can at least shoot a text to her, give her a phone call or something here and see, you know, maybe they're just like, you know, yeah, we don't want that, or planning on it.
Well, what do you think, Dr. Fire? When
I think
a starting point, you do
Reach
that,
out to them
at the same time have Jim look into, see what we can legally do.
and, you know, if they did inherit it, then I don't know that they have any legal liability towards it, but if they want it, it would save us an expense for them to take it.
Is they're based out of Danville, is that correct? Or did they get taken over by another company now?
I'm not sure who's in charge of it.
It was
They're
a
not
community
building.
action, something or other. And I know once in a while I have to speak with a guy at Danville who was up, he'd have like questions about.
Well,
things.
moving them out all was precipitated when the ones that had been running it lost it. And then
Okay.
another group took it over,
Okay.
and they were not the leasee at that point, and that's what,
I remember them coming in here now.
yeah.
Thank you.
I guess I just had, just sitting there thinking, getting back to the county fund.
Yeah.
So if by chance, which I doubt whether it's gonna happen, if Walker was voted down at the county board meeting, do we take the second bid?
That
Or
is
what?
what's in the lease, yes.
I just,
What's the second bid, 345?
345,
245.
Three.
No,
Oh,
345.
okay, yeah. Which, that's a darn good price, I think.
yeah, 345 is like more money.
380 is a lot.
380 is a lot too, but, okay, if he can make it at 380, so what's he doing?
Yeah, but I heard that they could just do it on $10 an acre.
Well, but look at what you got left when you're done.
Yeah, I know.
That's, you know, if it's all about money, we're not stewards of the land.
Yes.
How many acres are here?
400.
397.47.
Oh, 400. I didn't realize that.
Half is duck hunting land, I just wanted a duck hunt.
All right, we can discuss more afterwards, kind of, just not all of us because of
Yeah.
the laws. Unless you have more. Okay, under new business, yeah, management meeting next month is gonna be September 8th, 1 PM at the Courthouse. It's gonna be moved off of Monday because that's Labor Day. With that, we're gonna ask Chris if he can give the management committee a tour of the courthouse.
I don't think that's possible.
We'll probably do that in between management and the judicial committee. And then we'll let the judicial committee know if they wanna come early.
The tour of like what? What do you?
Well, when I first got on, they took us in the basement, you know, under the tunnel, everything but the jail itself. We don't need to bother them, but, you know, show where the equipment room is and stuff, so that when you're talking about the boilers over there, people have a little bit of an idea of what they're talking about.
Gotcha.
Kangaroo court downstairs.
Did you give a time?
1 PM,
What date are you talking now?
September 8th.
For what?
It's a Wednesday. Management committee next month. Because the regular meeting would have been on Labor Day,
At what time?
1 PM.
And we're going to do the tour after that?
Yes, in between management and judicial, if you're available.
Sure. I charge admission?
Um,
What's the chance of showing the new equipment?
You got to collect it.
which new equipment?
That's gonna give it to you.
Doors, anything that's financially done.
Chris can ask the sheriff what he thinks.
I think
He'd like to see the new jail doors and stuff like that, so actually getting into the jail.
How about if not that, I'm just gonna sound weird, just take pictures so the county board can see all the work.
I can show you after the meeting.
That's great, I mean, I don't know if anybody else would have the full board be interested.
Iowa meeting over there instead of here?
Yeah,
And I can see about.
because we were
download
wanting to
some.
tour the building.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Knowing me, I'll show up the wrong place.
Just in the interest of security, as far as pictures of those doors or anything, that may need to be something outside of the meeting. Because anything that is in your meeting has to be open.
Right.
Has to be what?
Open.
Open
meeting.
meetings
Open
act,
meetings
so that
act.
they could-
I get what you're after, thank you.
so-
Security purpose.
Yes.
So, all right, that is all I have for new business unless somebody else has something. There is a motion.
Sure.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned.
John, please bring anything up that we can do to help you.